Okay, should we start?
Yeah, I'm happy to start.
Okay, perfect. So hello and welcome to today's webinar on advanced reporting. My name is Louise Wilkinson. For those of you who have met me before, thank you for attending the session. And those of you who haven't, it's nice to put a face to a name. I'm going to hand you over to Christina. Christina, as you may know, is one of our product consultants. Christina will run through the software with you. If you have any questions, please do pop them in the chat. We do have someone monitoring the questions today, so hopefully we can answer them as we go along. Anything that requires a little bit more of a technical reply, we'll cover those at the end. I ask you all if you could turn off your microphones and your cameras, that would be great. And I'll see you back at the end. Thank you. Christina?
Thanks, Louise. Okay, so I'm Christina Tooley. I'm one of the Proactis specialists at TSM, and I'm going to be talking to you today about Proactis Advanced Reporting. So it's one of the suite of Proactis elements. So it's part of the standard product or suite of modules. You will all have a license for it. Some of our clients aren't actively using it, and it's something that we are encouraging uptake of. And I'll talk to you a bit more about that as we go through the presentation today. So it will be slide based. I wouldn't quite class it as a training course today, but it will give you a bit more of an insight than just high level as to how the software works, and hopefully give you a good understanding of the utility and set you on your way to creating a report by yourselves. Okay, so advanced reporting, that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be looking at the benefits of advanced reporting. As I mentioned, it is part of the standard Proactis suite of modules. As part of your license, you are licensed for advanced reporting. It replaces the existing Proactis reports feature within the product. So depending on what version of the software you're on, you will see one of the tabs at the top of the screen will be Proactis Reports, and this will replace that functionality. So that is legacy software. Advanced reporting has replaced that. That utility will be end of life at some point soon. So we are encouraging users, if they do have reports within Proactis Reports, to have them rewritten within the advanced reporting utility. It's accessible within the application. Obviously, a huge benefit of using Proactis Advanced Reporting is that you don't need to log out of the application and access something else. Your existing users can use the software, they can use the reporting tool, reports are published to them, obviously, and they can very easily just access it from the menu while they're using Proactis and run a report. It reports over multiple data sources. You're not just restricted to reporting over the Proactis database. You can report over third-party databases as well. So if you wanted to combine data from your finance system and Proactis, you can quite easily do so. It's not just limited to P2P as well. It does report over source to contract as well. So you can combine information into a single report if you want to do that. Information can be presented in multiple ways. So you can group data, you can present it graphically, you can have lists of information. Obviously, you've got lots of options available to you as well with how the data is displayed for you when written via the advanced reporting module. So we'll go through some of that in the presentation. The reports are also role and permission based, so you grant access to the reports you want your users to see. Obviously, you can restrict further and only show data based on their templates or based on their departments. So you've got lots of flexibility there with it being a Proactis, part of the Proactis suite of modules. You can schedule reports as well. So you can schedule individual reports. It's very easy to do. I'll show you how to do it as well. And users will receive reports based on whatever schedule you've defined. You can also define the output type as well. So whether they're going to be PDFs or Excel based or Word documents. So you've got lots of flexibility there. The report wizard. So I'm not going to, I'm not a technical consultant, I'm more of an apps-based consultant, but I'm able to go through the wizard within the utility to create a report. So that also includes joining tables together, applying filters. So you don't necessarily need to have SQL skills as such to create a report with using the new advanced reporting utility, which is good. Obviously, the old Proactis reporting tool, I think you needed to be a bit more technical to be able to work through it. So we're going to look at how you get started, how you create a report. We're also going to look at how you would, the implementation approach. So with advanced reporting, it is a new option. Although you're licensed for it already, it does require an element of installation if you don't already have it. Now, as we're patching our clients, as we're upgrading our clients, we are including it as standard. For those of the clients that have other reporting utilities available to them, they might have ETL, but they might have something else, and they don't have reports written in Proactis, then that's fine. They're choosing not to implement the advanced reporting option. However, if you don't use anything other than Proactis reporting, then obviously we would include that as part of your upgrade when you're patching. Once it's installed, then obviously you're good to go and you can create as many reports as you like because you have a license for it. So I'll talk to you about the implementation approach as well. We'll go through that in a bit more detail. And then obviously, if you've got any questions at the end, then I can cover those off. However, as Louise mentioned, please feel free to write questions as we go through in the chat or in the Q&A section. And I do have someone monitoring, so they can respond, or we can just wait and go through them later on. Or if you want to ask something later, obviously, please feel free to just drop me an email. That's absolutely fine too. Okay, so this is the Proactis suite of modules as it stands currently. Okay, so you may have an element of purchasing, you may have source to contract, you may have a bit of both. The advanced reporting utility will sit over all of those elements. So as long as the data is being captured, then you have the ability to extract that using the reporting utility. But as I mentioned, it's not just limited to Proactis. You can bring in additional databases to report over as well. So we have clients that are reporting over their finance system, including payment information, as well as ordering and invoice information from Proactis. And this is just a slide that outlines the very, very high level, the Proactis roadmap. So obviously, Proactis ran an event very recently, and these are some of the key areas that came out of that, and reporting is one of them. So reporting is something that they are investing in, and they are looking at developing further for the application, as well as AI, an enhanced user interface. So there will be more to follow there. So as we know more information, we will obviously let you know. We don't know timescales just yet on any of this, but this is all exciting stuff to follow, and we will keep you posted on that. So I'm going to go through an overview of advanced reporting. Now, we'll go through navigating to advanced reporting, just where it sits on the menu. So obviously replacing the traditional Proactis reports that would currently sit within a tab at the top of the screen. I'll show you how to navigate to the new advanced reporting option. Obviously, if you've had it installed and you have permissions to it, then you'll be able to see that. If you don't have the option, then you probably haven't had it installed yet. And if you want it, then obviously just reach out to our team and we can help you with that. We'll go through how to view reports and what the capabilities are for you, how to create reports. We'll talk about how to allocate permissions and also scheduling of reports. And then obviously, if we've got any questions, we'll cover those off as well. So reporting, so it sits within the analysis drop down now. So if you have been granted permissions to advanced reporting, that's where it resides. You do need to have it installed to be able to have access. So if you haven't had the software installed yet, you probably won't have it in the drop down advanced reports. Okay, if you have had it installed and you haven't been granted permissions yet, then again, you won't see it in that drop down, but it's within analysis and advanced reports, and it does replace the existing Proactis reports function. If you do have reports currently in Proactis, they'll need to be rewritten using the advanced reporting option because the existing module is legacy, and it's over time this will replace it permanently. Okay, this is the menu option for advanced reporting. So once you've accessed it, these are the various tiles. You can access the data from within the tabs at the top of the screen as well. So you've got the option to view reports, maintain reports, you can grant permissions, and you've got access to system setup. Now, all of this is permissions based, obviously. If you're just a user that's running reports, you'll only have access to your report library. If you are an admin who has the ability to create, maintain reports, then you will have the majority of these options. You will be able to access more than just somebody who can actually just run a report. To view your reports, they can be accessed via your report library. And your report library can consist of multiple different groups. And within a group or a library, I should say, you can have multiple reports within there. So you can grant permissions just to a specific library for users. Most recent will show the most recent reports you've been running as an individual. So it retains that information, save you having to go and search for them time and time again, but you're not restricted to the number of libraries you can have. And obviously within a library, you've got your list of reports. This is just an example of a report within my most recent. So they can be graphical, they can be just lists of data. As you navigate to run your report or execute it, you also have the ability to access the scheduler. So if you wanted to set your report up so you can schedule it to run at a particular date and time, then you can do this directly from when you're running the report. Depending on how you've configured your reports, this is another example of a report here. I'm not going to go into the detail of what's in it, but in principle, you can have graphs displayed with lists of data. It just depends on your preference and the type of data you want to return to your user base. You can also have filters. You can have as many filters as you like. On the right-hand side there, you can see I've got filter criteria for this specific report. And again, just another example of a report with key information to identify what the columns are showing. But you can see, I think, within advanced reporting, if you are a user that's familiar with the old Proactis reports function, this does look slightly different. Obviously, it's been enhanced and you've got a lot more capabilities. Creating reports. So there are various elements to creating a report and making it available to a user to run. We're going to go through these. I'm going to go through these with you now. So creating a report data model that actually defines the query of where the data is being extracted from. So when you're creating your reporting data model, at that point, you can choose which database you want to report over. So whether it's your Proactis data or whether it's a third-party database, you have the option there. Okay. When you're defining your reporting data model, you can choose the tables that are going to be contained within your report. At that point, you can join tables together and you can refine your query. Once you've defined your reporting data model, you need to add it to your report. So you create a report, you define your layout, you can use a wizard to help you with this. And at that point, you can choose how you're going to group your information, how you're going to display your information within your report, and also whether you're going to have report filters. Once you've created your report and added your data model to it, then you need to just add your report to the library and allocate permissions to it. Once your report's in the library, it's available to be executed, obviously once your users have got access to it and they have permissions. So those are the 3 steps to creating your report and making it available to your user base within the new advanced reporting utility. So I'll take you through those in a bit more detail now. So the reporting data model, so obviously this would be undertaken by your admin user. If you would require assistance with this and you would like to involve TSM resource, then obviously we're always more than happy to help you with creating reports or providing more detailed training for you. So obviously, I know I'm going to go into it in a bit more detail, but it's still quite high level today. So obviously, again, please reach out if you want us to assist you in these areas. Reporting data model. So you can create as many data models as you like. So a data model could be an overarching database that you want to link to, or it could be a set of tables. It depends how you define it. So you've got flexibility there. But as I said, you can create as many of them as you like. You're not restricted. And to do that, you just click the create option. You need to save your reports along the way. So if you are creating reports, just something to be aware of. Wherever you see a save option, please utilize it, because the last thing you want to do is lose the information that you've been creating. So as you go into to create your data model, you need to give it a name and a description. And then what you need to do is you need to define your query. Okay, and that's your SQL query. So obviously, as we go through, it shows you the list of tables. So this is linked to my Proactis database. It will return me a list of available tables within my Proactis database or my Proactis reporting database. If you don't want to run the query directly on your Proactis database, then obviously you can run it off the reports database if you wish. You have options there. Okay, you can type into the search field the table that you're after, and it will return the tables that match that description. And here's just an example. I'm extracting data from my orders table. So I've just joined two tables together. I've got my orders and I've got my order items table there. And within it, I can choose which columns I want to display as well. So, I mean, if you wanted to, you could select all of them and then refine it later on. Or you can do it at this stage. Just identify which pieces of data you want to extract. And this is basically building your query in the background. This is building your SQL query for you. Whereas previously in the old Proactis reports utility, you needed to know SQL to be able to build the queries. This kind of does it for you using the wizard. Okay, obviously you need to save your report. And once you've created that data model, it will reside within your list of data models. So you can go off and create additional ones. If you wanted to create, I don't know, a data model that returned authorization workflows, you could just select those specific tables and label it up. Or if you wanted to create a data model that returned supplier information, again, as I mentioned, you can create as many of them as you like, or you can just have a single one if you want to, that includes everything. That's the one we've just been created. And once that data model is created, you want to move to actually creating the report. So when you're creating the report, you're pulling that data model in and you're actually creating the layout of your report. So you're defining which columns, how it's grouped, your filters, and how it's presented, basically. So this is just the list of reports that exist currently within the system. So to create a new one, you would use the create option. And you would select your data model that you want to work with. You'd use your wizard. There is a wizard option within this utility to define the report that you're going to use, the format of the report, whether you want it landscape, portrait. You can also identify the columns that you want presented. So based on the data model where I selected the orders table, I can now choose which columns I actually want to use within my report. And it's all done using a wizard. So there's no manual query writing at this stage at all within the report. So I'm just ticking boxes and clicking next. I can choose how I want to group my data. So I'm going to display it, or I'm going to summarize it by display number. So that will be my order number. And I can also choose the colors. So I can identify how my report looks, you know, whether I want it in coral or blue. Obviously, that's going to represent your headings, but I'm just going to extract the data in just a list. So this is, the wizard has defined this for me. At this point, if you want to move columns around or you want to make them larger, you can do that manually. If you want to change refine the information, so change it to currency or number, or change the display of the date format, then obviously you can highlight the fields and you can use the options on the right hand side to further refine those. You can add filters. So if I want to add a filter based on the columns that I'm extracting, I can choose which columns I'm going to be filtering by, whether the value is going to contain or equal or start with a certain value for my filter. And once I've saved my report, it will be displayed within my list of reports. So just literally using the wizard, I've created my report and I just need to add it to my report library now so I can run it. I do have the option to go back in and edit the report if I need to, which is fine. Obviously, if you do have the skills and you want to go in and edit the SQL manually rather than using the wizard, that's absolutely fine too. But to add my report to my library, all I need to do is access the report library admin option, define which library category I'm going to add it to. I can see the reports that are currently listed within my library. And I can just create a new library item. And that will take me to a screen when I can actually add in the new report that I created using the wizard. And that's the report. So, I mean, I haven't formatted it. I've left it exactly as it was when I used the wizard. So you can see clearly that obviously some of the columns will wrap, some of the columns need resizing, but I've left it like this intentionally. So you can see potentially the kind of things that if you're using the wizard, what it will give you and also what you would need to do. So obviously you would need to go in and you would need to go and resize the columns potentially, you know, or change some of the formats if you wanted. I've got my filters on the right hand side. Obviously you can create as many filters as you like. You just need to make sure that those columns have been, or those fields have been added, so then you can create filters off the back of them. You can also define your reports so that they don't print to screen and they are exported directly to Excel when they're executed, if you wanted to, or to a PDF. So they don't have to pop up to screen first, but you've got options there. Okay. You also have the ability to schedule your reports, which is a really nice feature. You know, not everybody wants to have to access the application to run a report. They just want to know that on a Monday morning, they're going to get a copy of their report. So the report scheduler is actually a really lovely utility. So as you access it, it lists all your reports on the right-hand side of the screen. So again, if you have permissions to access this area of the system, you'll have the ability to schedule reports. Your reports are all listed on the right-hand side of the screen. It's just a matter of dragging and dropping them into the relevant date, and you can set the schedule. So as you highlight one of the reports and drag it into a date, it will display an additional window for you where you can define when it's going to start from, the frequency, and you can also include who's going to be receiving this report. So you can add in the email addresses of the users that are going to have this report returned to them based on the dates and schedules that you've defined. You can also define the output type of the report. So whether you want it set as a PDF or an Excel spreadsheet, entirely up to you. You've got options there. Okay, and it's very easy. If you want to remove a report from the schedule, you just literally delete it. So it's very easy to maintain. Okay, how do you actually get started with advanced reporting? So obviously, yes, you will be licensed for it. If you have questions in relation to licensing, then obviously please reach out to Sarah and Louise, the account managers, who can provide you with more information in relation to licensing for the module. It is included as a standard module, but because it's been developed recently, I would say, it does require an install. So it doesn't get installed by default when you're installing patches. There's an extra element that needs to be installed for you to have access to advanced reporting. Once it's been installed, then you need to grant permissions so you can actually see it within the drop down. But obviously there's an additional element of configuration. Now, once it's installed, if you're comfortable with enough information based on what we've talked about today to go off and create reports, that's absolutely fine. Otherwise, we can assist you with some training and configuration. And we can also go as far as taking your reports that you have currently and converting them for you. So taking the queries that you have currently, converting them for you and putting them in the right format, or the format you want them to be displayed in, and even scheduling them. So obviously, again, please reach out to TSM if you require assistance with any of those tasks. But these are typically the tasks that our consultancy team would go through with yourselves. Or maybe it's a case of, just having a session with one of our consultants once you've installed advanced reporting, just to work through perhaps one report with yourselves, and then we'll leave you with it. And then if you require additional assistance, then again, you can reach out. It doesn't all have to be done in one go. Okay. So that's the end of my slide presentation today. I hope you found it useful.
Thank you, Christina. That was really great. We just have one quick question. I think, I don't know if it's answered your question there, but there's something in the Q&A that it was missed where you initiated the report builder wizard. So I don't know if you could just...
I can go back. Do you want me to go back?
I think it might be useful.
Go back, Farrell. Yeah. Let me just make sure I'm on the right screen. So let's just... Death by PowerPoint. I tried not to do too many slides, but there's always one missing. Okay, so right from here. So, okay, so if we're going to go into our report, creating our actual report, we'll select our data model. So you select the data model you've already defined, and as you click next, it takes you in to create your report. Now, on this screen, I don't know if you can see, there's like a wand, design a report, designing report wizard. Sorry, I can't see, it's too tiny. That's the option you need to start the wizard off. Okay, so that's the button you would click. So you've got your 3 lines on the left-hand side of the screen, and as you click those, it expands that, and within there you've got your report wizard, you've got the save option, and you've got the home option, so that will navigate you back to the main home screen. But the report wizard is the one you're after, and as soon as you launch that option, it takes you into this screen where you pick whether you're using an empty report, and if you click empty report, then it won't take you through all the rest of the utility. It just gives you obviously a screen where you can drag and drop your fields in and do what you want to do with it. But data inbound report will basically give you the ability to then, from your oh gosh, my mind's gone blank, from your pre-existing oh goodness, I'm having a blank moment. You can basically choose the fields that you want to extract on the report. So I've picked display number, order date, invoice status. These are all the fields that are available from the tables that I selected previously. Okay, and as you navigate through your wizard again, the next screen will be asking you how you want to summarize the information. So obviously I've just summed it by order number. You could just sum it by supplier if you wanted to, or by department, or by analysis, one of the account codes if you wanted to. Obviously, if you're extracting that information, then you can sum by it as well. Okay, and that's the end of the wizard. That's as far as the wizard will take you. It will display the information on the screen based on the columns that you selected to output. And then obviously you can refine it further if you want to. So you can move things around, add additional fields in. Okay, somebody's just asked a question about demonstration on how charts are built. That's not something I'm going to cover today. Obviously, if you want to, that could take quite extensive time, but you do have the capability to create charts. So whether you're creating bar charts, whether you're creating pie charts or both, you know, and building your key to represent the data, then obviously, yes, that is something that's available within this utility, but that will be covered under training. So obviously, if you want to schedule some training, we'd recommend half-a-day training with one of our reporting consultants, and they can take you through that in a bit more detail. I'm just looking if there are any other questions. Perfect, no problem, Farah. If you do have any other questions, obviously let me know. Yeah, I mean, this slide deck will be made available to you. So, you know, we will provide you with a copy of the slides and also a recording of the webinar. So obviously, if you want to run it back and follow it through, then please feel free to do so.
That's perfect. Thank you, Christina. I think there's just one more question in the chat, if we could cover that. Is it possible to have an interface where you can enter some fields or filters?
Yes, you can have fields and filters, absolutely. So as part of, I mean, so you can have, this is where you would define filters. So obviously, within your wizard, once you've defined your report here, within this same screen, you have the ability to define your filters. There's a little, I can't remember what you want to call this little button. James knows the name for it. I always forget the name of these three little lines stacked. But once you navigate in there, you've got the ability to create as many filters as you like. The hamburger, that's it. Okay, the hamburger. But here I'm filtering by, I've defined supplier. So supplier title is what I want to filter by for this report. So I want to run the report for Dell or for Touchstone and return all the orders for that specific supplier. So I'm pulling in the supplier in my filter editor, and I'm defining, I want to say the supplier begins with or equals, or it depends, contains. So any part of that description will return that supplier. Okay, that's how you would build your filters up, basically. But you can create as many filters as you like for a single report, so you're not limited there. I'm just reading through some more comments.
Yeah, it's just coming through.
Yeah, you can have date range filters as well. And you can have exceptions. I suppose you can build a query. It's just a query at the end of the day. They're just SQL queries. If you want to exclude information as well, then obviously that can be built into the query. And thanks, Russ, for just having a look if there's anything else in there.
I think that maybe covers
Perfect.
everything. Perfect. Thank you so much, Christina. That was really insightful, really useful. If anybody would like some more information or more in-depth conversation, please reach out to your account managers, which is either Sarah or myself. You have our contact details, and we can follow up with you as soon as possible. Enjoy the rest of your day and wish you a happy Easter. Thank you so much for attending.
Yeah, thank you very much, everyone.